Hi and welcome to No Second Season. Thank you for joining me on my holiday in Marysville. So today, instead of riding my bike, I've decided to go on a hike and I'm going to Steavensons Falls. In all my efforts to prepare well in case I get lost, in case there's some tragedy, something happens, I forgot to bring my hiking poles, but I found this stick. This trail looks quite busy. I've probably been passed by about 10 people while I mess around. Now I have come extra prepared today because I need to practice what I preach. I've brought a first aid kit, I've bought my water filter, I've bought food and water, I've bought a whistle, a torch, what else? All the emergency things, a little repair kit, a poncho, and a large emergency blanket. This is an easy peasy, laid out trail, just like the Philosopher Falls one where Celine went missing. How did she go missing? Was it foul play? Did she get lost in the bush? I've got a story for you today, and this incident happened nearly 50 years ago on the 4th of September 1974 at these very falls I'm walking to now. Now 50 years ago, a group of girls and boys were at a bush camp in the town of Tagaty, 28 kilometres from Marysville. Now this group were bussed to the trailhead of Steavensons Falls. So all the children needed to do was hike the less than kilometre up the steep and winding track to have a view of the falls. Apparently, they were very well supervised. As they made their way up the hill, a 10-year-old boy, Damien Mackenzie, started walking ahead of the group. Damien rounded a corner, and as the group rounded the corner, Damien was nowhere to be seen. They searched for him, they called him, but the supervisors soon realised that there was a problem and they quickly reported it to the authorities. And so began one of the largest searches in Australian history at the time. There was over 300 people looking for him. Searchers were drawn from many areas: the police, the Red Cross, local walking groups, the Forestry Commission, and general citizens. All searched for him by foot, by water, using canines, and from the air. Alas, after a week searching, Damien was still not found. And to this day, Damien has never been found. How very strange. Could it have been an abduction? Was it animal predation? Did he fall into a disused mine shaft while dashing in the bush for a bush wee? Did he fall into the Stevenson River? Possibly he just popped off the trail to do a wee, got turned around and got lost in the bush. But why didn't they ever find his body? Could it be that he was abducted? Reading up on it, it's very unlikely that someone could have abducted him and not be seen. but it's a possibility, I suppose. But I find it hard to believe that they were being well supervised if Damien could disappear. I would be pretty miffed if that was my son. Just like Celine Kramer, that I did a video on, she was walking to Philosopher Falls and disappeared, although she was alone. In my opinion, I think people nip off into the bush for a wee, get turned around in the dense bush and don't find their way back to the trail. Hence why I am well prepared today. I also have my emergency beacon on me. Now, I can understand why people don't prepare well, because my backpack is heavy. I'm guessing 8 kilos. It was springtime when Damien went missing and the temperatures were quite frigid. So if he had injured himself in the bush, he would have soon become incapacitated by the cold. Divers searched the shallow, slow-moving Stevenson River, where we are right now, just crossing, but nothing was found. Nothing was found in the bush, and nothing was found in the water. It's very unlikely that Damien could have been abducted, but not impossible. If someone was waiting in the bush, it could have happened. I don't discount that at all myself. Apparently there are reports of Damien having been talking to someone in the car park, a stranger. He may have hiked ahead, waited in the bush. Strange that he abducted Damien. You know, coincidence that Damien was ahead of everyone and that the man knew that was going to happen and abducted him, but not impossible. Animal predation. I think they'd have heard a noise and screaming, don't you? If it was a pack of dingoes or something like that. So I don't think that's an option. Now, if you were with a group of people and you wanted to nip in the bush for a wee, you wouldn't go ahead, would you? Wouldn't you get behind? I'm not sure what's best, because then you'd be very behind. Perhaps he rushed ahead to make up some time so he could nip in the bush before everyone came and he could do a wee. It is said that any disused mine shafts had been filled in. I suppose there's a possibility one was missed, or that the earth collapsed and he fell in. But why wouldn't they have found it during the search? With 300 people searching 30 square kilometres, why wasn't Damien found? So possibly abduction is a real possibility. Looking into the bush, you can see how dense it is and how uneven it is. I think it would be very difficult to get out of the 30-kilometre search range in a short period of time, because it is very dense. Since that fateful day, the case has never been closed. And in fact, an ex-police officer and Stephen's brother, who is also in law enforcement, have kept on searching and kept on investigating. The retired detective, Valentine Smith, he met Damien's brother, Stephen, on Crime Stoppers. And together, they are still trying to find out what happened to Stephen's brother, Damien. Sadly, Damien's parents died without ever knowing what happened to him. That's so terribly sad. I just can't imagine what they went through. Absolutely awful. So let's hope Valentine and Stephen get some new leads and solve the case of the disappearance of Damien Mackenzie. So if you want to, you don't have to hike from Marysville. You can drive and park up and then do a short walk that way to Steavensons Falls. I think it's somewhere down that way, or you can come the way I did from Marysville. Anyway, let's go and have a look at these falls. So what it appears is there's a lot of people drive here and don't hike. I think it's about a 0.7 of a kilometre walk from the car park, and they are impressive. You won't see it on GoPro, but they're quite high. It's higher than the GoPro shows because it clashes with the sky. But yes, very impressive, very pretty. Now, I have another story for you today, and this is from the summer of 1968. On the 9th of January 1968, 7 teenagers that were holidaying in Marysville parked up at the Steavensons Falls car park, and they set off up this very path to get to the top of the falls. 4 of the group were walking ahead, 3 had stopped for a rest slightly behind them, and according to one of the witnesses that survived, they heard a crack, and immediately, apparently from 200 feet above, a massive 1 metre diameter dead mountain ash tree trunk crashed down onto them, hitting the 4 in front head on. All 4 were killed instantly. That was Jay Hutty, 18, Peter Simons, 19, Dorothy McNally, 15, and Janine Clark, 13. According to the only male survivor, Bruce Fidge, 19, he staggered back to his car and drove straight to the police station. Rescuers raced up to the site, and the 2 other survivors, 2 girls, Donnella Cann, 17, and Margaret Welchout, 16, were taken to hospital and were treated for cuts, bruises, abrasions, and for shock. But in a matter of moments, 4 families were devastated. top of the falls. So this walk was to the top of the falls. Very nice, not as impressive as the front view, but it does give you an idea of how steep the terrain is here and why, when the tree fell, it didn't just roll, it just crashed. If a tree fell from up there, just look how steep it is to the bottom of this trail. Very steep indeed. Making my way down from the top of the falls, I can't help but wonder, look at this tree that has fallen here. Could this be the fateful tree that has now rotted out 56 years on? Could this have fell from high above? It's just a little bit sad that there's not something up here that I've seen anyway to mark the tragedy. On the steps going down there's a lot of leaf litter, and with all the rain it's very slippery, so mind your step. Now you wouldn't believe how many people have passed me coming up here. I'd say at least 50. So be prepared in the holiday season to have to give way and wait while people pass. It's quite balmy and humid today. There's been some spots of rain, but nothing terrible. So we've been up. Now let's go down here. Go back to where we started. Again, lots of people, as you can see. So here we are at the bottom of the falls, and it looks like at night there is some floodlighting to light them up. I guess that would be quite pretty. So come in at night, I don't know if it still happens. And here's what I've been looking for. There is a memorial to them, and it's here. That's fantastic. That was a really good viewing platform, and I was so pleased to see a memorial to those 4 teenagers. It's certainly worth a visit to Steavensons Falls. There is another viewing platform. Let's try and find that. So I'm going back out to where I started. So here, and I think we turn left. And I think there's another viewing platform along here. I'm really impressed with the effort that's been put into making this a worthwhile tourist spot, because sometimes they can be very disappointing. But this, they've made the best of it. So many viewing platforms. The one I'm just going to is really busy. Let's have a look. Okay, so I think I'll start hiking back. It's very nice here. As I say, they've done an excellent job to make it worth a tourist visit, because you don't always get that. There's a lot of mozzies around here, by the way, so bring your insect repellent. And if you don't like it too peoply, bring your people repellent as well. There's another area. Let's go and have a look at that. We're not going yet. There's a turbine to look at. And here is a turbine driven by the water, generating electricity. Marvellous. And why wouldn't you? It's free. Let's make our way back now. You can actually come here on your bike, that's all okay. Now it's 2:20 in the afternoon, so I probably got here about 1 o'clock, perhaps before, perhaps 12:30, 1 o'clock. It was a very busy time. I would imagine the quiet periods would be early morning or late evening, but if there's the light show on in the evening, it may get busy. So I didn't need to bring all the safety equipment with me today. There were so many people here that you would hope I couldn't possibly disappear, although Damien did. But it may have been that no one was here. It may have been raining. I may have slipped down those very steep steps with the slippery leaves on, injured myself. So I'm quite happy to carry this weight, just for my own safety really. It's very pretty here. The ability of the gum tree to regenerate after wildfires is all too evident here. Look at this mighty tree that's been on fire, and yet it still has leaves. It may have took many years, but it's done it. And there are lots of them around here like this. Here's another giant, burnt, but still alive. Marvellous. The bush is so dense, it's deep in fallen trees, fallen branches and ferns. I've seen a couple of birds, but really nothing else. But I've seen lots of these ferns / stroke palms. Quite lovely. It's hard to find any solitude on such a popular tourist trail, as anyone who's done a tourist trail will know. But when there is no one around, there's just bird song and the running water and the beautiful bushland. So many big trees down in it. I can see through there, massive trees down. Is that because of human intervention, as in when we construct a path, the watersheds change and the roots rot? If you enjoyed this video or you got something from it, perhaps you would be kind enough to give me a like, hit the thumbs up button, and if you haven't subscribed already, it would be great if you'd think about doing that as well. I'm coming to the end of the Fern Gulley Trail. I'll be back to the sports ground behind the Gallipoli Park in a moment. There's lots of trails here. Massive gum tree here just ahead. Beautiful. I'm not sure if it's the Taggart or the Stevenson, but just down here there's a nice little place where kids could have a paddle. in the bush. Lots of undercover picnic areas here. I've come into the fish and chip shop and I'm having fish and chips. So in case you're confused, I'm not totally vegan. I am 98% plant-based. Occasionally I'll eat fish and I eat eggs sometimes. So I do eat animals and their products sometimes. Sad, I know, but I am so excited. I'm so excited and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control and I think I like it. I've got fish and chips, but look what I did. I'm such a dickhead. Bought a $2 pot of tartare sauce, dropped it on the bloody floor, lost half of it. What a knobhead. Jesus. Back at my lovely hotel. It's actually quite warm and sunny now. The rain looks like it's across the hills, but it's not got here. So the hike on the Fern Gulley Track to Steavensons Falls is done. Do I recommend doing it if you're in Marysville? Yes, I do. In fact, even if you're in the area, I'd say drive to the car park if you can't be bothered to hike. It's a really good tourist spot. Can get busy, but I really enjoyed it. It was very nice indeed. Well done, Marysville Council, or whoever maintains it, perhaps the Forestry Commission. I shall close this video here. So from me, it's over and out. Until next time. Bye for now.